Mhm.
Hello, hello. Hello. Let's see if you're on air right now.
Okay, on air.
Hello, everyone. Finally, we did it. Thank you for joining us. My name is Karina Pizzini. I'm journalist covering industry more than 10 years, editor-in-chief in Grupo Sim, Canal Indústria 4.0. It's a pleasure to be hosting this chat. This conversation actually started a few weeks ago in the halls of Hannover Messe 2026. Like many of the best conversations in our field, it began between meetings, between exhibitions, and opportunities to have a real network one by one, as happened with both of you, right? So this year, we in Hannover Messe, which had Brazil as official partner country, also highlight industrial AI as one of the key themes of the event. Beyond the bus, how can manufacturers translate AI into tangible business value? That questions inspired today's discussion. So I'm very pleased to welcome our guests. Claudio Goldbeck is an innovation advisor and one of Brazil's leading voices of Industry 4.0 and industrial transformation, a former board member of ABII, Brazilian Association for Industry 4.0 and Industrial Internet of Things. He has participated in multiple editions of Hannover Messe. Through Become Global, he supports the internationalization. Oh, that's such a hard word to say in English. Internalizations of industrial startups and innovation ecosystems, connecting companies, institutions, and markets across countries. He advises industrial companies and technology firms and hosts the Boteco 4.0 podcast here with us in Canal Indústria 4.0. Thank you for joining us, Claudio.
It's a pleasure to be with you again, Karina.
Nice to see you again. And Antonio Conati Barbaro, thank you for staying here with us. Antonio is co-founder and CEO of Alentia, one of the leading industrial IoT companies in Europe, a pioneer in industrial connectivity and machine integration. He has helped hundreds of manufacturers accelerate their digital transformation journeys, and it's widely recognized for his work on industrial IoT, industrial data integration, and machine to AI connectivity. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us.
Thank
Hello,
you. Thank you.
Antonio.
It's a pleasure and nice to meet you all. Nice to meet you again, Claudio. And we had long discussions at the Hannover Messe, and I think we have a funny time in sharing this discussion with you.
Well, before I start with the questions. I would like to know where you're talking from.
I'm talking from Gdansk, important city of Europe. I'm here to get to know better the history of this city. And there is a huge transformation in Poland. And Poland is becoming a powerhouse of innovation also in Europe. That's why I'm here to explore more these opportunities.
And
Nice.
myself, I'm talking from Pisa in Italy, headquarter of Allianzia, and in between travels. Now tomorrow I will travel to the north of France to have a interesting meeting with a very large industrial company. And again, talking about AI, talking about data, and use it to improve operations and improve performances. And I think we are in a very interesting time for deep transformation, and I think in the industries, leveraging AI if done in the right way. So let's talk.
Okay, thank you for joining us. To begin, I would like to ask you guys, what was actually you're talking about in the house of Hannover Messe? How do you meet? We already know with one of the point, the main themes of Hannover Messe 2026 was industrial AI as the institutional communication of the fair, the Messe. It was AI industrial. So, but before we talk with about it specifically, I would like to know how do you meet and what you were
Mhm.
talking about over there.
I think Antonio doesn't don't know this. Antonio doesn't know this history, but as Become Global was preparing these startups, the Brazilian startups, to showcase their solutions in Hannover Messe 2026, we wanted and needed to find uh, benchmarks in the European market to listen to the Brazilian pitches and to get advices for these companies. And then we searched for the European market and realized that Antonio was in Hannover Messe or was planning to go to Hannover Messe. Therefore, we reached him in order to invite him to get to know the industrial solutions. And then he was with us during 2 days, Monday and Friday, listening to the pitches of the industrial, of the Inditex that was showcasing in Hannover Messe 2026. So it was a pleasure to have him on board. And the guys, those companies who presented in their in the stage, in the Apex Brazil stage, they were very glad to hear advices from Antonio. So that's the kind of connection that happens in an event like Hannover Messe.
Yeah,
Nice. And
indeed.
how was the
And
experience, Antonio?
it was very, very interesting to know such a lot of brilliant Brazilian. What Claudio didn't know at the time was that not only I was, founder, co-founder of industrial company, especially, we were a startup, so we had a story. But before that, I also had some years in doing advisory and working in a VC accelerator, let's say, scrutinizing companies was my part of my work. So I know the expertise of quick analytics, quick analysis of companies and people together with the industrial expertise. And so that was a very interesting, like back on the old time, but with the old experience behind. So that was the experience was very interesting. I didn't know much about the Brazilian market, and it was I know that Brazil is a very big country, a lot of industries, lot of work, lot of also smart people there, and was very a pleasure to meet so many people and so many interesting companies, and some of them are also in touch to see further collaboration for joining forces in Europe as well as in Brazil.
Karina, I think now it's time to explain the meaning of serendipity. So that's a specific. That's a typical case of serendipity. So we are there. Antonio was there, and then we had this common background. We don't know, but this is on top of planning. So we have the planning, but also we count on these cases that is surprise. In Portuguese, we call it acaso.
Acaso, sim.
It's nice because when we talk about Hannover Messe, it's one of the biggest stage for industrial networking. So it's nice to have this match, Italy and Brazil, and we can really talk about it and understand the difference and what it's relative also of the manufacturing in Brazil and Italy. So that's why I'm gonna start with the questions about that. I would like to understand of you. We saw I keep receiving a lot of research about how CEOs are using AI, industrial AI in their business, and how they are really getting value of that. If we're still talking about pilot projects, that what Hannover says we are not anymore. We are in a further stage. But I'd like to understand if we are really getting the value of it. So why do you think industrial AI becomes such a strategic topic for industry today? Antonio.
Mhm. Well, first of all, the what we saw in Hannover, expecting to see everywhere. Actually, it was not. I mean, there were big displays of the big companies, the usual suspects, Siemens, SAP, from Europe. Everything was a lot of AI supporting. But also I saw other, let's say, hardcore industrial companies that were providing sensors and providing automation with, let's say, not so much, not yet, the providing, AI bound solutions to their systems, to their products. And I think this what they would like to do, but they are not ready yet. Also because the whole environment is probably not ready. I also saw a lot of Americans, the usual suspects in Microsoft, but not only, and others, and including the Chinese, with proposing their AI. And I think my feeling was they were trying to get what it missed the big to their picture. The knowledge from Europe, the knowledge from the industries about how to do things that could be, becoming part of the models, so like fishing for content somehow. So what I see is maturity. No, we are not there. It's not mature, but it brings value because what you see in using, AI, we use AI every day in our company to not only to develop, supporting developers, supporting the software, supporting the delivery of the solution, analyzing data, and building also, strategic thinking. So does value? Yes. Does the AI, are the factories ready to leverage AI for their business? Not yet, because there is a certain work to be done on, instructing to on your specific data, your specific application, the way you do things, and that's different from what the others are doing. So you don't want to have statistical, based response or say a response that is good, so good. Now you want to have the answer to your problems. So not there yet. No, there is work to be done, and I think one of the discussion is about readiness. Company readiness to leverage the AI. But AI bring value, and the people, when you use it every day, you would like to use it for more things. And if you see the power in terms of increase of productivity, I'm not talking about, you're a software company. I'm not thinking to replace anybody with AI. I'm just seeing the way we can improve and increase, multiply, 3x, 4x the productivity using AI. And I think everybody that think about in this way can also see what they can be done in the factories. And also, for example, machines manufacturers, where talk about Italian companies, usually they are understaffed. So they have less people than the work that needs to be done. So can AI support that? Definitely. Of course, you have to see the cost and all the factor, but conceptually, you can use it very well. So it is, I think,
Thank you, Antonio.
the reason of the what comes around in the mind of decision makers in industrial companies.
Thank you. Claudio, what do you think about it? Do you agree with Antonio this point?
I agree and disagree because it was a long answer. So in some points I do agree. Let me put my point of view is that Hannover Messe is a trade fair that has the feature of featuring trends. So they are showing concepts, right? They are not showing success cases a lot. They are more a showcase of trends. So AI is a trend, yes. AI already brings value, yes and no, because sometimes just say they are using the technology but not bringing value yet. So, in my point of view, what we saw there was a lot of technologies or a lot of models using one technology that is artificial intelligence, and the success cases or the business cases are still being developed or still missing, right? Uh, that's why I say that the biggest error from the industrial leaders is to think about AI as a technology and only, right? So in my point of view, AI is a possible solution to a problem. So the first step is to understand the problem, and perhaps AI can be a solution, but sometimes it's not the better or the best solution to that use case. So I think it's quite important to start with the question instead of with the technology. Um, so that's the biggest mistake. I saw that with Industry 4.0 as a whole 10 years ago, trying to use Industry 4.0 concepts or technologies, and no matter what the problem was. So the problem was logistics, let's use sensors. And why? Because now sensors are affordable. So it doesn't make sense. So AI for me is the same. That's why I still think that's a hype. So people are talking too much about that and using too much for use cases that are not the best ones for AI. So, for instance, if you don't have a good data source, it's hard to use AI. AI relies and depends on data. So you need to have data. So if you don't have data, start building and creating your data lake or big data or whatever instead of trying to use AIs upfront. So I still think, in a summary, what I think is that there is still a huge hype on the AI, and many business leaders taking decisions based on technology, not on the problems that they are facing.
Perfect. There's a research from Cisco AI about AI readiness index. That's the name of the research. And it says only 13 to 14 of organizations are considered fully AI ready. Despite increasing pressure to generate measurable returns from AI investments. At the same time, 8 to 10 organizations report growing pressure to demonstrate AI ROI, while 32% have a systematic process for measuring AI impact, only 32%. And 8 to 10 organizations report growing pressure to demonstrate AI ROI. We don't talk about AI in industry since yesterday, right? So that calls my attention when we say that 13 to 14 only feels ready, AI ready, and most of the companies from the report still can find demonstrate the AI ROI. How you see that if it's complement your visions? Because if they cannot show the value of it, it means there's a gap between getting the technology and making that value for your own company. What do you think is the gap?
Let me answer in two sentences. The first is again related to my first answer, is that you need to start with the problem, not with a possible solution. And if you don't know what value you want to bring out of technology, anything is possible, even nothing, right? So I think that's the most important point. Why do you need AI? What problem you want to solve? Is AI your best hardware tool to solve this situation, right? So I think we need to start from the problem, not from the technology. And if you start from technology, it's quite of obvious that it's very hard to reach the value. But if we start with the problem, it's easier to find something that can bring you value to solving this problem, right? So I think that's the misconception, starting with the technology instead of starting with the problem that you face.
Antonio, with your experience, I'd like to know the same question, the same answer. I mean, the same question for you, but I would like to add your experience as in Alentia. If your customers look for you, your team looking for the technology, or with a pain that maybe AI be the solution or not, how it works on the field for your company?
No, first of all, I agree with Claudio, because well, first of all, the numbers you said, 30 to 40% are AI ready. I think is well below that, based on my experience. But it also depends, AI ready for what? And let's go back to the Claudio mind of, which problem you would like to solve with AI, and is this a problem that you can actually solve with AI? Because with the AI, let's talk, without mixing, let's say AI is, for me, is not machine learning, is using the language models to understand information, understand inputs, understand the request, and provide responses. So it's a lot of supporting the natural also interaction with the people, and with the non-expert people, with the people, not direct people, or people that today they need one answer to a question, and tomorrow they need another answer to another question, and then have other applications. But so going to your question about what the people in the field looks for. Actually, they looks for people or companies that help them understand, let's say, distill the problem, or what they want, and what they want to achieve, looking to their, let's say, baseline of information regarding, data coming from the production line, data coming from documentation, data coming from process design, from many other sources, data information coming from the maintenance guy that goes around like a crazy guy and change things in, to fix one problem but doesn't tell to anybody what he has done. So the line continue to work, but next time they don't know what to do to make it work again, or broken sensors and other things. And the point is, helping a customer when I talk about customer, I mean factory people. They need to first of all have a much stronger governance of the information they have, because they have a lot of information and data, but they are not aware of this, and how this information could help in solving their problems. And this is the first gap I see. So the factory information ownership is not has to improve, to be really AI ready. Because also with the AI ready means, yes, I can also feed a language model, or can be local AI, a cloud AI with the proper boundaries, with the proper fences, protection, and have a response to my problems. And the problem could be do a research today about my factory performance and do another one tomorrow that nobody has programmed in my system, but I can to an AI to do a distillation of the information I have. But first you need to know which information you have, and so how to extract the AI, and third, how to get the feedback. So is partially technological, because you can do these things to have a technology setup, but it's mostly information management and the knowledge of things the companies have already, but they don't know they have, or they don't know how to use it well.
Well, Claudio, would you like to complement something?
Just one quick remark is that Antonio said information governance, and I also believe that we need to have data governance, because information is another layer, and data governance is also important, right? And all the governance that we have in the environment, but still data governance is missing.
Mm-hmm.
And why do you think most organizations, companies are investing in AI before solving integration and data quality challenges? I mean, is it because the buzz?
It's because I mean, for me, it's because of November 2022 or late 2022, when we had ChatGPT. So AI, I mean, is something that I can touch, I can talk to. It's something that it was not, that doesn't belong to the data analytics guys anymore. It's something that I understand. So it's a kind of business leaders were aware of AI through ChatGPT. Therefore, I want to use this stuff here with my business, right? So they got educated through these contact. So, but machine learning is hard, and everything is hard. It's not easy because you need to build the everything right from the foundation. So they want to start with the solution, not with the miracle, which is talking to a machine, but you need to organize data and so on, right? So it's still hard. It's still hard. That's why in your last question, Karina, you mentioned the pressure from the board that we need to use AI. And why? Because I saw on Instagram that works, So executives being educated via Instagram. That's my fun question, answer for your question.
Yeah, I think that as I said before, Anthony, is because people start and use AI every day, and they would like them to bring your device, bring your home device, bring your home AI in the work area, in your workplace, with the data of your company. Then understand which are the data I need, where are these data, how these data are these data good, clean, correct, data to other sources, etc. How's the security of this? Am I giving out the proprietary and key information outside? I don't want to throw everything, how my company works to ChatGPT. Is something that maybe someone has done, and I'm sure they've done, but it's not a good idea. So it's when this is where things become difficult, when you start to look at the whole stack and see how to map, the output you want to your baseline, your solution, your factory, and everything considering, cybersecurity, IP protection, people, information you have and you don't have. Consider, for example, that it's not uncommon to find factories where machines they don't have no idea how to get data out of those machines simply because the vendor has gone broke and nobody has the passwords for the PL.
Yeah, or they want to sell, or they want to sell the link to get information, and you don't want to pay for that. Therefore, you're not connected to the machine. I do agree. Yep. It's like 90% of the machines, or 99% of the machines are not talking yet.
But how can we change that? So we have you, Claudio, that is a evangelist of Industry 4.0, and we have Antonio with a huge experience in the field. Also, you, Claudio, being a how to say? Consulate? No, you
consultant.
Sorry.
What? Sorry, I lost my camera here, but I don't know what you mean.
When you give advice, you're advisor of it. So with considering this expertise, what do you think is most important now to change that and to show fabricant companies, to show enterprises that we have to look to other points. We have to look to data before start talking about AI.
We lost the Claudio for a bit. So
yes, but he'll be back soon. There we go.
So how to change that? Well, first of all, I think awareness is growing. The more companies see results, don't think about AI for that moment. Think about digitalization, so use of the digital data out of what they have. Start to use it and need the understanding, and then I think that would be an acceleration in adoption. What I saw and I see is that in the factory, ICT was well some years back behind the ICT in the top floor. In the shop floor was automation and few applications. So I think that would be a faster adoption, in my view, if they solve the data governance side and the information governance, faster adoption of AI because when you have a powerful tool, you want to use it and you will. And what I was saying, other things that are changing. So one is awareness, adoption. Third, also regulation. EU came out last year with a data act that force the machine vendors to provide the data for free. So it's a big push to avoid certain behaviors of vendors asking 20K just to access the data of the machine. Forget about it. Of course, solve the problem of machines 20 years old with the vendor broken and nobody has the passwords, but that's incidental and happens. But I see quite acceleration in that. Of course, starting with the wrong foot in the project means failure, and the failure brings
frustration.
Frustration, exactly. So that's another.
Yeah, from my point of view, we'd like to talk again about the business value. You need to solve a problem that you have. For instance, if you have a product that nobody wants, Industry 4.0 is not going to solve your problem, right? For instance, imagine that you're building cars and those cars use fossil fuels, right? Imagine that, right? So you have a business problem because people don't want to buy your products anymore. So no matter the robots, the AI that you use, you have an existing. I just found a worst word to say. So we have a problem that is essential to your belonging. You don't belong anymore, right? I know that some companies are facing this situation, and you guys know that, right? So again, this problem you cannot solve with AI. You need to build better products. You need to build something that someone wants, because you also want to solve a problem of a human being in the end of the day, right? So once you realize that you have a problem, and maybe AI can be a solution for your problem. Maybe digitalization is the first step to reach AI, right? But again, start with the problem, don't start with the technology. My next advice is that I can give you examples. So you can have four drives, that you can create business. One, you can have expansion. You want to expand your business. You want to create new products in order to achieve new markets. For instance, you produce cars, and now you want to produce software, and your software is connected to the car, right? This is a easy thesis, and nobody has successful achieve a good result on this thesis, right? They tried 25 years. They have been trying for 25 years, and there is no good solution for that. As a company that makes car, building a nice software in order to connect with the car, right? I'm talking about the old guys, right? So another one is productivity. So you already have many customers, and you want to produce more, then you need to increase your productivity. So this is one business case that you can use many technologies. AI could be one of them. Relevance. So you can have your own company, but increase the relevance of your company. For instance, now you want to connect your business, that is industrial business, with the common customer, so the end customer. And then so you're building relevance. For instance, you have a brand which is very B2B, and then you create a whole marketing machine in order to connect your company to the end user, right? Again, this is not easy, mainly for those who have the mindset that your customer is just the next one in the value chain. But in the end, your customer is in the end, is a person that is using your device or your component, right? And the fourth one, we already talked about that, is empowerment. For instance, you have lack of staff, as many European companies have now, and then you want to import them, and then they can produce way more in the office, in the shop floor, and then you give to them new devices. Among those devices, AI is there, right? Again, think about your business problem, and then you can find AI as a possible solution. That's my advice. So it's a top-down point of view, not a bottom-up point of view. It's not let's build something out of AI, but rather let's find a solution for this business problem, and perhaps AI can be a tool.
So you both agree in that point. I would like to know if you have examples for us when we move beyond the hype, what is already delivering real value in industrial environments today. If you have some examples to give as clients from Alente, or even from the companies that you advise, or as become global, you have contact with a lot of scale ups from technology industry also. I'd like to check if you already have some examples just to share with the public.
On my side, I thought, well, let's say that given a company where we have done already a big data science project, and they will be ready, next year to start to test in certain use cases the use of AI of things that cannot be done or can be done better using these new tools. Because the project we did the project between 20 and up to the beginning of this year, so certain things were not ready to be used in terms of technologies. And the company is a producer of metal. Is a very large plant in Italy, where the company has many products. They start with the metals mostly, and produce finished metal sheets, metal coils in different alloys of copper and zinc and so on, many types and many sizes, many thicknesses, many finishing. So it's a complex production process that goes across systems. And we have built a complete data platform to monitor every production, every product step, so measuring your energy consumption. So the company has today a complete view from the data standpoint of the history of these products and the behavior of the production results, the performances as well. So they have gone already through a process of building the data architecture, where then they can also apply AI on specific vertical problems, that they can address. For example, one problem we have already addressed with the traditional machine learning, and it better with the algorithms. It's optimization because they have they use 70 to 80% of metal scraps, and then they add let's say new metal in the mix. So if they have to produce a certain alloy, they have what they have in the warehouse. What's the right mix to reduce scrap, reduce waste, optimize the energy consumption. And this is a typical. We have built a learning algorithm there, but this could also definitely use AI, especially if then the relationship with the data becomes more complex. It's not for one plant, but would be across different plants, having more data, more correlation, and so the power of technology would help a lot here. And so, yeah, again, it's a company that has already went through a long and I would say sometimes painful project of building the good data. Now, building the good data means they can already use the good data for reporting, analysis in a quote-unquote traditional way, but not so traditional. And so they can now use AI then they can have a lot of data sets. So they could apply different problems. They have a list of problems, and they definitely they will do that.
We just saw an application that used one of the four drives for generating value. So the second one I brought is productivity, so driving internal efficiency, and they want to have better productivity using data, right? On top of that, they are using empowerment because they are giving to people better. The company is giving to the employees better tools to decide. For instance, primary metal or secondary metal, how to make the mix. So again, it's two drives to reach one business value that is increasing productivity. And in my point of view, what I'm seeing is many applications already mature for quality control. So using machine learning in order to help the quality control team to decide if the product is approved or not approved. So this has been around for 10 years. And now I think those solutions are pretty mature.
and they are competitive. You have many vendors in the market, and I think this is a typical use of AI that is not sexy because the machine doesn't talk to you, right? It's not something that you can just change your question and you have a different answer, or maybe an excuse because the first one wasn't right. It's just an application that works, and it was developed using machine learning. So this is also a topic of AI that I think it's again, it's like old school AI that works, right? So I believe that we need to include, when we talk about AI, we need to talk about these old school or traditional AI that already brings value to the businesses.
I'll give you another example if you want.
Sure.
It's not yet a company, but it's a company where we will propose the use of AI. It's a company, they produce a very poor, let's say, product that is box, okay? But they do millions, and they spend a lot on energy, and so they have already built, PV system for self consuming energy. And now their thinking is what we do now. Now, should we do other the PV system? Should we optimize the cycle? Should we change the shifts? What is better, giving today's energy price to next to have produce only during the day, or have the third shift at night? No, it costs more in the morning, but will cost less in energy at night. Sorry, in the morning, and will cost more. So there is a cross-domain analysis where traditional system would not help, because it has to be, continuously programmed. And while through having, of course, the good data set underneath about production cycles, consumptions, etc., this type of analysis that is non-deterministic by root, is where AI can help. Also, giving something to the manager, they can question, interrogate with natural language, and have a clear feedback. In every day, every night. Say, now I have 2 hours. Let's do this analysis about what we do the next month. And so cross-domain, putting together data from other sources, dynamic reasoning, and this is where AI, I think, brings a lot of value, and this is where it will be used.
Yeah, that's typical of the traditional AI and then generative AI, because I think they're going to use random forest to solve the first question, and
Yes.
then in order to talk to this model, you add the natural language. So
Exactly.
different levels, but again, it's hard, and that's why I said that the business leaders normally they are not educated to understand how to build this such a complex system.
Exactly.
And talking about it, I would like to put the workforce in the discussion, because you said about the decision makers that may not know is exactly how to take the value, but we have the whole group of persons and people working on it the same. Our time is almost done, so it's gonna be my last question, and I would like you to answer it, telling me what you see, that if you see difference or something relative from the Brazilian perspective and the Italian perspective. How companies that can bring value on AI. KPMG research say that organizations investing simultaneously in technology and workforce development are 4 times more likely to generate significant business value from AI. So this huge, right? I would like you to know, to answer then, if what is the perspective and how you see the topic of the workforce to make an AI give real value for manufacturers?
Antonio, can you start?
Yeah, I can start. So regarding the people, the different, let's say, the people in the shop floor, the people in the management, the people on the top management, each one will use have a different use of AI. I think what I see is on the shop floor, AI will bring a lot of let's say suggestion for optimization regarding setups, giving answers to because to the empowered people, empowered operators that are going to know, for example, what is the best setup for improving the quality of this specific process, depending on the different situation they face day to day, and without the supervisor, because that would be suggestion from the AI, not the supervisor. So because the supervisor will, he does not have all the time to go around to all in time to all the production lines to give the right suggestion. So it would be a sort of a companion of the supervisor. To a certain extent. And then, of course, the more we go up, there will be also other use. Not considering yet something that will come soon, not so soon, but soon. There will be, agents, and the agents not for autonomous operations because that issues regarding safety, but definitely to give suggestions to how to work and operate the better, continuous improvement. Italian perspective, that the problem in Italy is that the majority of the companies are too small to invest. Very small companies, and this becomes a problem because they cannot invest. They can buy solutions, and well, of course, we are working on that, but it's not definitely is not easy for them to, I would say, even to survive in this context without aggregation to a large size companies. Starting with the mid-sized company up, yes, they will invest. They are investing. But the issue is about this 80% of companies that are very small size, and let's say they cannot invest actively on AI adoption.
Okay, I'm optimist because I think AI will bring, will help people. It will help people in several layers. So in the shop floor, in the management, and also in the business leaders can be helped by AI. So I'm optimistic on that. I think that's just another technology on around the block for traditional manufacturing, because traditional manufacturing has physical so you have the physical laws, and we cannot go against physical laws. We need to have cutting, we need to have stamping, we need to have welding. So that's the typical one. I'm not saying that for all business AI will help. Some business will be broken because of AI. I'm sure of that. Mainly those who are very software-based business, AI can disrupt this business. But for traditional manufacturing, I see more help than a threat. That's my point of view. So what I encourage people to do is to embrace AI, right? Embrace not only the generative AI, but also the traditional AI and the upcoming agentic AI, because agentic AI will also interact with people. In order to get the agentic AI approve it, we need to have the approval from people first, right? We need to have several outputs and say yes, 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 yes. After 100 approvals, you can say now you can be autonomous, or in this kind of decision you can be autonomous. Therefore, first embrace, and second one for manufacturing, I'm very optimistic. I think that AI will help. It's not helping yet. I think it's a lot of noise, a lot of cost that we are having. But in a few months or a few years, we are going to get benefits and value generated by AI. Therefore, I'm optimistic. I think that's just the continuous movement of Industry 4.0 that started in 11 in the theoretical model and 14 in practical model. It's just the continuation of this movement.
So, and giving sequence for this movement, if we meet again at Hannover Messe 2027, what do you think will have changed most in the industrial AI landscape? Or maybe if you think that's not gonna be the main point, the key note of the event again, what do you think it's gonna be in there if we meet maybe a year from now?
On one side, I'm going to see the first testimonial of real value out of AI. On the other side, whether it's going to push the humanoid revolution that will be Hannover Messe, where we'll have some thousands of humanoids going around and talking about AI, maybe themselves. So the first will be a positive one. The second, but I think that definitely we will see value out of it quite soon, and I think that will be one of the topic will be real value out of AI.
I agree 100%. I put in other words, I think it will be more a business case than technology. So AI would be like we increase it 10% of something using AI instead of AI to boost your business. So it's like business case with AI. So that's what I forecast. And also, I 100% agree that humanoids will be the next AI. So, and then people will ask, but why? And then we start again. So we can have the same line changing AI for humanoids, and then why do you need to have a head? Why? And then why? And why? And why? And then finally we find the right business cases. That's a continuous movement. Let's just enjoy the ride.
That's perfect. That's a great way to end this conversation. We are already past our time, so I just would like to thank you so much. That's our first webinar, and I hope that's not the last one. I enjoy a lot to have you both here and talk about it. I hope my English was enough for people to understand what we are talking about, but that's the mission. It's to give examples and leaders talking from different places. So thank you, Become Global, for this partnership and to make that happen. Antonio, thank you so much. Lau also, that helped us a lot. So thank you for joining us. That's a very nice time we had together. You'd like to say goodbye?
Yes, Karina, thank you very much. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure to see again Claudio. Claudio, if you around Italy, give me a ring, of course. And it was a pleasure to have this conversation, and hope to have others sometime even at the end of this year to see if what we are thinking, what we say today, came up with some reality,
Yeah, it was a pleasure. It was indeed a pleasure. And I hope to have another webinar about interesting topics like beyond AI. Thanks, Karina. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
See you soon. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.